We'll find out.
There we go. Now we're live. Hi.
Yay!
So you've had a
Hi.
long day, but we're here.
I have had a long day. It's been a Wednesday. It certainly has been a Wednesday, but I'm excited to sit down with you for sure.
I know. I always enjoy talking to you, though, so I can't complain there.
I love talking in general, especially about mermaid things, definitely trying to get a lot of the community exposed, which is great.
What was I say? You've been doing this for a lot longer than I realized. I think you post it. Why every time? Every time. I love you. Every time I do one of these, he's like, "Hey, I'm here."
I love that. No,
Um,
I'm a cat person all the way, so I'm okay with kitties.
I think I saw you post some. It was either something you posted or something that was posted in reference to you. Where you've been doing this for a really long time. How many years have you been in the mermaid culture?
So I got my first tail in 2019.
Okay.
Yeah, in 2019. So roughly about a little bit over 4 years technically.
Mhm.
And I mean, this community and being involved has just taken me on such a journey that like I I would have not thought 5 years ago I would have been doing this. Because
Okay.
5 years ago I was doing something else. 5 years ago I was on a different path. And like I would have never thought I was involved, I guess you could say. So I
Okay.
mean I'm super grateful for the past 4.5 years that I've been on this journey for sure.
Okay. So, what got you into it though? Like, what was the thing where you're like, "Hey, this is what I want to do"?
Yeah, this is always an interesting question, and I love getting it because people in the mermaid community, they always have some form of a backstory, and like
Sure.
it's usually one of three things. I
Okay.
was inspired by the movie Splash, I was inspired by The Little Mermaid, or I was inspired by the
Sure.
13th year. It's usually what
Okay.
you get. I really wasn't truly inspired by any of those movies in general, except I love cats. So
It's
cute.
one of those things. It's like I don't know how it happens every time. All right,
It's
back to
so
you.
cute. But it's one of those things where like I guess you can technically say I was inspired by The Little Mermaid.
Okay.
And but it wasn't necessarily the mermaids, it wasn't necessarily the storyline or the plot or etc. It was genuinely like the colors and the artistry of it all.
Okay.
I was like, oh my gosh, genuinely, if under the sea in the ocean like looks like that, like why would I not want to be there? So of
Okay.
course at that point I was obsessed with mermaids for like a few years into my childhood, which kind of inspired me to get into competitive swimming. So I did
Interesting.
competitive
Okay.
swimming until I was 18. So swimming came quite naturally, and I can tell that story. It's actually very funny. I've told this story on um, my show, Merman Mondays, with my co-host Merman Christian, and I love
I
telling the
caught
story.
one of those the other week.
Oh my gosh, they're fun. Him and I just joke around, but I've told this story before, and I can tell it.
Sure.
But the what kind of got me back into mermaiding when I left that phase out of my childhood was um, I was one of the aquatic managers at a aquatic facility, and one of my employees, her name was Abigail, and she used to bring her tails all the time. And I was like, oh my gosh, like I know the names of these products, where everybody else was like, that's just a mermaid tail. And I was like, no, that's a Mertailor, that's a Fin Fun, that's a Fin Folk. And she was so amazed that I knew about these things because I was like, of course, why wouldn't I? That
Sure.
she kind of convinced me to get my first tail from Mertailor. And
Okay.
Mertailor sent me my tail. It was a couple weeks before October, and during our swim lessons for Halloween, I decided to dress up as a merman. And instead of like walking the pool deck and being my manager stuff, doing all of that, I decided to get in my tail and swim
Okay.
around from class to class and just kind of like entertain these kids and have fun. And it was such an enjoyment, and I loved it. And I from then it's kind of been I guess you could say uphill or downhill down into the rabbit hole, I guess you could say, where it's just been endless and I haven't really stopped.
Okay.
I became really good friends with the Mer Taylor team. In fact, they're my family now, and I love them. support them, and they've just been a super big guiding force for me ever since. So it's just kind of like once I met them, um, I've just kind of taken off and kind of
Okay.
flourished, and I'm super honored and humbled by everything I've done. But the story about me getting into swimming is kind of funny, and I feel like if anybody heard this story, they'd be like, "Oh yeah, Jacob's gonna get into mermaiding." It's for sure was when my sister was taking swim lessons or was doing swim team because she's older than me. I was about 3. So like 3 years old, you're probably like just getting the hang of actually walking and not falling. And my mom unfortunately took her eyes off me and looked down at the pool and saw like this small child swimming right next to her in the pool and was like, wow, that kid can really swim. She didn't realize it was me until I picked my head up to take a breath. Um, so swimming came very naturally to me, and my mom kind of like loves and hates it when I tell this story because it like makes her look bad, but also makes her like really proud of me because I was really good at swimming. Um, but like, yeah, no, I think that story is hilarious. And it's just kind of been, I've just been kind of going since then.
Okay. Well,
Yeah.
I think the bigger exciting thing is this Netflix thing, this docuseries that you were in.
Yeah. Oh,
I
Lord.
can only
Um,
imagine what I mean, like start to finish, and then now that it's live and everybody can see it, I'm sure
yeah,
there's even more.
it's been a roller coaster. It's been one of the most emotionally like up and down things I've ever been a part of in regards to any accomplishment in my life is being part of this Netflix documentary. And it's almost hitting its 48-hour mark of being out, and the number of such wonderful and positive messages that I've been getting have been
Sure.
extremely overwhelming. And honestly, I didn't really need much of a stimulant or pre-workout to go to the gym. It was because I had so much
Sure.
drive from these wonderful messages. But I mean, the filming process of it has just been um, I mean, I think any actor or actress can agree. It's draining. It's very, very draining.
Sure.
Um, we filmed episode 4, which is the main thing that I was a part of, in November, which was really, really cool because, they had us on this cruise ship and it was lots and lots of fun. And, I mean, I think it's quite interesting how, like, we went about things. Like some of the cruise like attendees didn't really even know what was going on until we actually like told them. And then once some of the people on the ship like listened to us as we walked around, which I thought was really cool, is when we weren't filming, a lot of us walked around with our sashes, with our crowns, and we were just getting people amped up on that ship and so excited, and it was a lot of fun. And then we ended up setting a world record on that ship for, yeah, a lot of people don't know this, and it's really funny that they didn't mention this in the film. We actually set a world record for most people in mermaid tails at Bimini, which is Virgin Cruise Line's private island. We had
Okay.
a bunch of tails that were provided by the cruise line, and a few of us went and sat with the members, and we were authenticated as setting a world record.
That's awesome. Well,
Yeah,
so
it was so cool.
tell me, how did the whole Netflix thing start? Did they approach you guys or did you guys approach
Yeah.
them? Okay.
Um, So they've been technically filming this over the course of 2 years.
Okay.
And it's been an ongoing project. At first, a lot of us in the community like knew about it. We were like, "Oh, that's kind of cool." And we genuinely thought it was going to be like some small budget film. At
Okay.
least that's what I was kind of under the impression of. I was like, "Oh, cool! Like it'll be like some cute little documentary that like might show up on a television show." And then it became much bigger and bigger and bigger. And they ended up approaching me before a convention, and wanted to interview me and have me do a couple things at this convention. And that was really, really exciting. And then when it came down to this Kings and Queens of the Sea, they approached me and said, like, you should apply. They were like,
Okay.
we're not saying anything, but we're saying you should definitely apply to this. And I was like, okay, cool. Like, we'll see how it goes. And I applied and got picked to do this mermaid pageant on the cruise ship, and then flew down to Miami and filmed it on a ship. I mean, it really was just that. It was like, I think we had like a total of like, it wasn't even like 2 weeks. I want to say it was like 13, 12 days to prep for it. Like most of us found out, if not 2 weeks, less than 2 weeks, that we were going to go down, and then we had to book flights, get time off work, let them know that we're going to go film something.
Sure, sure.
And I mean, for anybody involved in the mermaid community, getting prepared for something like this is not something small. It's not like you just pack a bag and put your tail in a bag
Right.
and go. Like a lot of us had to hand make a lot of the stuff that you're seeing. I mean, for example, if when you watch episodes, like you'll see me wear this like silver shoulder piece, which is actually
Mm-hmm.
right here. I made this the night before my flight. Actually, I started it at 6 p.m. and it's solid. It's real shells,
Okay.
and it's a couple handfuls of E6000 and hot glue and some really nice
Okay.
spray paint, and drilling it and making sure that this could actually like properly sit in my shoulder. And like,
Uh-huh.
I mean, it was stressful enough for me making just this. Some people made like everything, which was really
Sure.
impressive. Like I know Merman Andy, he made like his like skull shoulder piece that he wore. And I mean, people made a lot. And when you got 12 days or less, it's while working, while doing your job. Some people have
Sure.
kids. Like it's not an easy feat, and it was very, very stressful. I want to say honestly, one of the most stressful parts was getting ready for it.
Okay.
Yeah,
I could see that.
it was rough. It was very rough. But I mean, I'm grateful I went on it. I'm grateful for the learning experience. I learned a lot more behind the scenes than what was actually happening on the screen. And
Okay.
I can speak for everybody that was a part of that. They can absolutely agree. You learn a lot more about yourself, how to handle things, how to manage yourself, and what you need to do in certain situations behind the scenes. What actually happens on camera. On camera, a lot of it's just like, all right, go here, do this. And we're like, okay, cool. Um, where behind the scenes, you learn how to handle certain situations and time manage for sure.
Okay. I mean, I could see
Yeah.
that. What was a typical shoot day for you guys though on set? Like what time did you start? How long was it? Was there anything typical
Oh,
about it?
nothing was typical. Let me let me
Sounds
let
right.
me make that
Sounds accurate.
very clear. Nothing was typical. I mean, it's like typical filming. I've been a part of a couple filming things, and nothing's on time because you're
Okay.
dealing with real life people in the real world. Nothing is going
Sure.
to be on time. So, I mean, you have that factor, but I think what a typical day for us was like, the majority of us were waking up at like 5:30 in the morning on the cruise ship, getting ready and showing up to the places that we need to film. And something that you see in the documentary is you see a lot of us on these like lounge beds around a pool. And what was really, really interesting was that happened at like 9 in the morning. And for us mermaids, that getting ready and on something in a tail, makeup done, full look at 9 in the morning. Some of us have to start at 6. You know,
Right.
I had full blown body paint. They didn't
Okay.
really show me too much. You can kind of see me in the background of a shot, but I had full blown body paint. I painted my hair silver. I did silver makeup, so I did like chiseling and everything because my look is a lot of silver, silver and blue. And a lot of us take hours. And unfortunately, a lot of us made friends on that cruise ship that were willing to actually like wake up, like people that we hadn't met until we got on that boat, that were just
Sure.
people also on the cruise ship who were willing to wake up and actually help us carry some stuff, which was really, really kind of them, because some of our tails are not light. Some people had
Sure.
lighter tails. Me, Luna, Miss Mermaid Luna, the sea queen of the Sunshine State, and then uh, actually, I don't know how many pounds Merman Andy's tail wears, but I mean how many pounds his tail is. But Mermaid Luna, her tail and I are we have the exact same tail. It's just painted differently. So our tails are about roughly anywhere between 50 to 55 pounds. So like when
Silicone.
you're solid silicone, solid.
Yeah.
And when I'm carrying my makeup and my look up to where we need to get ready and then get like shipped out to our beds,
Sure.
you have to get up there quite early. So shooting would typically start at somewhere between, like a typical shooting day would start anywhere between 5:30, and then we usually wouldn't end roughly around 5 or 6 in the evening. We went a little bit later one day because we had to film at night.
Hmm.
But no, I mean that's like a typical shoot day. We got to get off the boat a couple times, which is really good for us because stepping away from the cameras and having that pressure of just like trying to make sure we're portraying ourselves and portraying our community and portraying our friends can be quite hard. And just being
Right.
able to step away was really, really nice for a lot of us. But yeah, it was go time. It was go time. We like breaks or lunches were like 40 minutes, 30 minutes, and we had to like shove food down our faces and get back.
Sounds like working in retail.
It I was selling. I was for sure selling. I was selling a lot. um it was a great experience though. I mean, it really, really was. I wouldn't trade it for the world. um I'm so grateful for it. That's really the best way to sum it up, was the fact that I get to represent my community the best I can.
Sure.
You know.
So, what would you say was your least favorite thing about doing the whole Netflix thing?
Hmm. Well, hmm. So we can't talk about.
Okay.
No. Like I'm gonna phrase it in a certain way.
Okay.
The contestants, we can't talk about too much that happens behind the scenes.
Okay.
Um, per Netflix,
Sure.
this is their product at this point. We have to respect that. But what I can say was there was some unfortunate things that happened behind the scenes, and my mama raised me right. She raised me to be honest and be truthful about everything. The best way I can phrase it was that there were some unfortunate things that happened behind the scenes that were not very kind,
Okay.
and they weren't addressed properly. And I've been apologized to um, by certain representatives, and I'm thankful for that. It's just very unfortunate, that in that type of environment that there were some unfortunate, unkind things that were happening. And the best way I can hint to it is if you watch episode 4 and see that a particular individual is not a very humble,
Got
you
it.
can definitely infer about what was going on.
I
Yeah.
gotcha. So another fun thing that you have is happening next year. Tell us about the symposium.
Yeah, the Syrine Symposium. I actually forgot about that for like a hot sec because it's always on
Netflix,
my
Netflix,
mind.
Netflix.
I know, especially this week. Syrine Symposium. It's a wonderful mermaid convention that's going to be happening in Richmond, Virginia at the Swim RVA Aquatic Center, which is actually the aquatic center that I was the aquatics manager at. And, I am so thrilled to kind of be bringing it back home to where the facility where like I got my first tail, swam in my first tail,
Sure.
did all these things. And I'm bringing it home with some of the most amazing staff that we have. And um, I know a lot of people saw that Mermagicon was in the documentary and want to go to that. And more power to them. More mermaid events out there, the better. My co-owner, my business partner, used to help run Mermagicon and is helping me run this one. And we got a bunch of the cast members that are part of Mer People coming. So look out for those announcements for that. We have some of the top leaders in our community coming. And then the businesses that are pairing up with us that are not necessarily linked to the mermaid community but are involved. I'm so excited to be announcing them. We're currently taking a break on announcing everything this week so everybody can enjoy Mer People. But I'm so excited because this event is based on the 4 core values of equitable, affordable, aquatic access for everyone. And what I mean by that is everyone should have the ability to equitably be able to acquire aquatic safety skills, whether it be basic swimming or if you're interested in becoming a mermaid, be able to have that access to it. Everyone.
Sure.
Everyone should be able to afford it. Mermaiding is not for just the rich. The mermaiding is not for just certain races, cultures, genders, etc. It's not. It's for everyone. Accessible. Everyone needs to be able to have the ability to go to a pool near them, have an event like this near them in which they can attend and learn, and that this is just genuinely for everyone and that we want everyone there. A party event, a convention, a symposium is nothing unless people are there. And that's kind of the beautiful thing about this event is that I'm bringing it back to Richmond, where I grew up in a very underprivileged part of the community. And I mean, I grew up poor. I grew up with poor people. I grew up with people of color. I grew up with people of different religions. I grew up in a very, very diverse neighborhood. And the number of people that I knew could swim in my neighborhood, in my area, I could literally count on a couple hands. The people that I didn't know how to swim, I'm sure are in the hundreds. And that's so depressing that, the Little Mermaid movie is coming out, and this is going to be inspiring so many children of color that are in my area, if not other areas across the United States. And they're going to go buy that tail at Walmart, Amazon, Target, whatever, and they're going to drown. And that just makes me so sick. I hate that. I hate that so much. So with the symposium, we're providing, affordable costs that, people can definitely manage within their budget, as well as we're working on some school relationships within the inner city school board. So that way certain schools will actually have a set price where these children can come and attend and learn from us mermaids. So that's the reason why I've been pushing so hard to have a lot of our mermaids in our community come, because this is going to be a great event where, people on the documentary Mer People are representing our community. But I want people to understand, even though I was part of that documentary, doesn't make me the sole representative of Virginia. That doesn't make me the sole representative of mermen. Anybody can represent the mermaid community.
Absolutely.
And that's the beautiful thing about Symposium is that even if you're an attendee and you're a professional mermaid and you're not necessarily on my staff or, teaching anything or, whatever, you're still a representative, and I'm going to utilize you. That way, if I have a kid that's walking around the pool deck and they are just looking a little lost or looking amazed, I'm going to be like, hey, that mermaid over there sitting by the pool deck, that's mermaid blah, 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 or that's mermaid blah, blah, blah. I'm going to tell them and go say hi to you. And you get to have that moment of introducing yourself and changing a life, inspiring someone. I'm like trying not to cry right now. And being able to have that impact. And that's the beautiful thing about Symposium is that's going to be different from other conventions. Is other conventions are like big parties, big get-togethers, and places where you have a lot of classes. And I mean, we're going to have that, and we're working with other conventions that way we're promoting all of this together. But the difference that we're going to have, or the things that we're going to have, is we're going to be able to make a bigger impact on the direct community outside of our mermaid community. It's great to build.
That's a question that I have too, because my understanding of Mermagicon, and I kick myself a little bit because I completely forgot Mermagicon was happening until somebody was like, hey, Brett's looking for a second shooter. And I'm like, oh, that's cool. I get to, why is he here? Because he's on the freaking West Coast. I'm like, why is he here?
Yeah.
And so my understanding of it is that it's more centric to people who are already mermaiding, correct? I know there's other comments I need to
I'm like, I see one every now and then. I'm trying to read them.
you well, Star's on now. She was complaining that she says she's learning slowly that her office looks like crap compared to everyone else's. It's okay, Star. There's no judgment here. And she said that I'm
Yeah,
excited for more
you're
kids
just
to
seeing
come
the
to.
clean part. So my
I
whole
think
room is a hot mess right now.
you just have to have like that one
Sorry, go ahead.
sliver. She said, I'm excited for more kids to come to Syrine because it feels like there are never enough kids at other conventions and not enough new people. So that's what I wanted to touch on. What I've kind of gotten from like the community culture, whatever it is, a lot of these things are really only geared towards people that are already doing it. So it sounds like
Yes.
yours is more meant to open up the world a little bit more, to be a little bit more inclusive.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, so that's the terrible thing about it is like I'm 100% for building interpersonal relationships amongst the community. That's how you get stronger networking, that's how you get stronger ties, you know, and that's how we are able to display ourselves so well and professionally. And there's nothing wrong with that. Absolutely. I think there should be events like Mermagicon in which people are building those interpersonal relationships and networking. Um, I mean, how else did we get this wonderful opportunity of having a documentary and like a Little Mermaid movie?
Sure.
Is because we're able to present ourselves relatively professionally. We can't build that professional status or that image by constantly building relationships outward. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I can't build a strong image of myself by constantly getting the opinion of someone else or getting um, advice from somebody that's not involved in the community. But
Sure.
the community is not going to get better unless we're building outward. So I'm all for growing inward and growing outward.
Sure.
And like I said earlier, I mean, how depressing is it to think that, you know, this opportunity of this Little Mermaid movie where you're having Halle Bailey, a person of color, inspiring so many children of color. And I mean, it brought my heart so much joy when like all these advertisements started coming out and you saw these like reaction videos of these like grandmas, moms, granddads,
Sure.
children, all these things like doing these like first reactions, and it's like these children of color being like, she's like me, and it brought me so much joy. But there was that initial fear of someone who used to help run an aquatic facility of like, holy crap, like there's going to be a lot of drowning children, and there's going to be no event in which is going to be able to help gear these children towards safe techniques and
Sure.
how to get out of a tail, get in a tail. Because you know, a lot of people are like, oh yeah, if a child's swimming in a tail and they're drowning, they need to know how to get out. Us mermaids, it's also just as dangerous getting in a tail your first time. And if you don't have
Mm-hmm.
someone there helping you and teaching you, it can be just as dangerous. You can bust your head, bust your teeth, knock yourself out,
Sure.
fall in the pool. It's not a safe thing. And you know, all of these other events, they do a great job of what they're doing. But like I said, what we're doing is trying to make sure that children are safe, children are having fun, and children are inspired. You know, you can teach a child to be so safe, but at some point they're going to lose that drive, lose that inspiration, and lose that motivation. And unless you have that one mermaid sitting on the side of the pool that looks just like them or is able to get them excited, teaching them safety techniques isn't going to be anything, you
Gotcha.
know.
Sarah, okay. Sarah also said, or I should say Star, there needs to be education for parents regarding tail safety too.
Yeah, no, definitely. And I think that's kind of what's really unique is that with this event, with us having these children's classes, these children's programming going on, is that obviously parents have to be present when their children is in the
Oh,
building or
sure.
attending this event. So their parent is going to be by, and we're definitely going to be having curriculum set where all people that are teaching these instructing classes in the water are all going to be on the same page. And, you know, we're probably going to be having some handouts. We're probably going to be having some safety videos produced. And, parents do need to know that when your child has something tied around their ankles that is constricting their movement, they need to be present and they need to know how to work these things. Um, so I'm really, really excited that one of our headliners is coming, and I can't announce who she is yet, but I'm really, really excited about her coming because it's definitely going to launch this kids programming into the next level.
Okay. So for the Syrine
Yeah.
Symposium, then basically, I'm assuming what you're going to have is you're going to have classes, I assume.
Yes.
Okay. So you've got classes, people can spectator, so they don't actually have to be there for like mermaid wear. They're just there to check it out. And then you also, you guys are doing something with local schools as well, too, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, I mean, it
Oh,
sounds like
yeah.
you got all the bases covered.
Well, I mean, it even goes further than that. I'll tell you this,
Okay.
that this aquatic facility, while I was there, they were teaching roughly anywhere between 8,000 to 15,000 kids a year in swim lessons. And this
That's a
includes
lot.
it's a lot. And guess who was in
That is a
charge of
lot.
all the children? Guess who was in charge of all the children's programming? Me. Um, so that includes their 600 kid swim team. That
Okay.
includes the 8,000 kids roughly that they teach through their school system. So this wonderful, wonderful facility, Swim RBA, is a nonprofit organization in which they pay for swim caps, not cats. Your cat got me distracted earlier. And they pay for all of the busing, bus drivers, gas, everything, in which all of the second graders from all, I think it's still 13 or it might be 16 elementary schools within the direct area of this facility. They bus all the second graders in during their school day and teach them free swimming lessons for 7 weeks. And
Okay.
then they also have their after school program where they teach swim lessons for kids to sign up. And then they also have some outreach programs where they're teaching middle schoolers lifeguard certification safety skills. Even though they're too young to have the certification, they're teaching them these skills so they can save someone else or save themselves. And then also the
Sure.
high school programs. So they have direct links to all of these children. And then we're also taking it even further to reach out to other schools. So
Okay.
I'm just so excited. I'm just so excited to see all these kids' faces and see the impact.
Sure.
Because what kind of also pushed me to utilize the attendees that are coming is there are so many mermaids out there looking for gigs, looking to be able to change a child's life. Ooh, my light went out. Um, and be able to have that wave of change. Um, this is the perfect opportunity for people who are not in good areas for gigs, don't have are like landlocked, as Mermaid Sparkle said in the documentary about being in Arkansas, being landlocked. These landlocked mermaids in areas that aren't good for gigs or like don't know how to market themselves. This is their opportunity to do that. This is their
Okay.
opportunity to like talk to a child, talk to a family, you know, and experience what they want to experience and what they've been asking to do. And I'm excited to see what these mermaids have to offer as well. Not only the impact on children, but like see the impact that these children have on all of these mermaids. Like I think it's just going to be so cool.
So, what kind of classes are you going to be offering? Like, what is the teaching and education going to be that for the symposium?
So not only are we going to have different leveled in the water skill classes, so based on a child's skill level, age, etc., we're going to be having those classes split up. Um, we're going to be having modeling classes, which is going to be really cool for our professional mermaids. We're going to have some dry land educational classes for our children as well. That's going to be headlined by our possible other headliner. We're still in the process of discussing all of that, but I think it's going to happen. But I'm really excited that this dry land educational portion where we're having organizations from the state, aquariums, as well as foundations come and speak on environmental issues, impacts of water, impacts of safety. And we're also going to be having some dry land educational classes for our professional mermaids, where we're going to be doing social media classes, crafting. We're having our wonderful mermaid Coral Koi come in and teach a crafting class on mermaiding is expensive. So having a mermaid come in who's like super crafty in cosplay and literally can make an amazing look out of, I don't know, zip ties, like, like
Sure.
why not have them teach a class? So we're gonna be having a lot going on. It's gonna be a lot of fun. Just thinking about it is just like, holy crap. Um, and every mermaid that I talk to, I tell them, I'm like, I just want to tell you everything, but I just can't yet because it's just some stuff isn't finalized and some stuff is, but we have to wait till we announce it. And it's just gonna be so wonderful.
No, I get that. So let's go back to like your actual experience as a merman. I keep wanting to go mermaid every time because it's just what I'm
Yeah.
so used to hearing, and then I'm like, oh, it's merfolk. That's the easier one to go with. You guys have, you know what? Actually, that's what we're going to talk about. You guys have some like interesting terms. Like one of the things that I said to Star, I hope you're still listening. Like her website, um, she has to go back to painting. What are you painting? I don't
Oh
know.
yeah, she just got a new airbrush gush. So not gush,
Oh,
not gush,
okay.
gun.
I understood what you
And
meant.
yeah.
That's good. She must be creating stuff, so she's allowed. But like on her seashells, we're both doing great today. um, but like even on her website, like instead of saying hello, it says shello, and I was like, oh, that's cute. But you guys have like a
Oh
lot of
yeah.
those things. Like there's a lot of terminology for you guys. What was one that I heard?
Oh my gosh.
There was one that I heard recently, or one that I read recently. I can't think of it off the top of my head, but give us like 5 or 10 of them that like most people would be like, what is that supposed to mean?
Okay, well, I'll give you my go-to. So there's shallow, there's
Okay.
fantastic, mermazing, fish please, yas fish. Um,
Stop it.
uh, this is my favorite. This is my absolute favorite, and I try to use it when I can. But I definitely set it on porpoise. Do you get it?
Okay, I
Yeah, there you
do.
go. It took you a second. Porpoise. Um, yeah, there's a lot, when someone's being bad or annoying, you say they're an urchin.
Makes sense.
Um, yeah, I mean, there's a lot. It's just kind of like in the moment,
Okay.
um, which is really hard because when I go to my like normal full-time job, like I sometimes have to be like, hold on. Because if I say this, they're gonna look at me and be like, oh. Um, but yeah, no, we have a lot of terms. Like almost anything you can like, oh whale.
Okay. Oh, I got you. I got you. Okay.
There you
I thought
go,
you
there you
said,
go. I saw
well,
the gears turning.
so I was
Oh
reading one of the
whale.
comments and then I thought you said
Oh,
a whale. So I was like, yeah, what about a whale?
oh well. Um, or like when you start a conversation, you go whale, whale, whale.
Oh, jeez.
Look what we got here.
So we need
Yeah,
like
it's a lot of
we need
puns.
a we need a like an urban dictionary for mermaiding.
You need a coral reef dictionary because we're
There
not
you go.
urban. The cities, our cities are coral reefs, Dawn.
I'll get it right. I'll get it right. I promise.
We come from the streets. But yeah, no. Yeah, we have a lot of cute puns. We have a lot of cute puns. I mean, there's some that I'm even still learning. So people
Okay.
come up with new ones every day.
So, considering you've done this for as long as you have, because I've had this happen to me a couple of times and I'm really not that popular. Have you ever had somebody like see you out and about and they're like, "Oh, hey, are you so and so?"
Yes.
How do you handle that? Like, has there ever been any
Um,
that are weird or are they always just amazing encounters?
yeah, so I've had a couple encounters where people know who I am. And I'm super polite. And we actually talked about this on Merman Mondays the other day on like how mermaids can properly handle the situation of being recognized or being approached by a fan or someone that's excited to meet you. And there's three things that you need to do. You need to be as excited as them because you need to be
Okay.
as excited meeting someone that's excited about meeting you.
Sure.
Like you need to be grateful for that. And, anybody that comes up to me like, oh my gosh, like, hi, like, absolutely. Ask them questions about them. You know what I mean? Because the next time you see them, and I've had this happen when I did competitive baton twirling. I was really nice to someone, but I didn't ask them a single thing about them. So when they approached me like a year later, I was like, you don't have the question of like, how's the niece or something. Like, you don't have questions because you don't know anything.
Right.
So
Sure.
ask questions because it makes them feel good that you're interested in wanting to know a little bit more about
Of
them as
course.
well. And then also make sure they feel welcome to approach you. I have unfortunately been blessed with a complete RBF. I look mad when
Right.
actually in reality I'm just thinking. So I try to be as
Uh-huh.
goofy as I can at all times. But it can be very draining. But when you're goofy, people want to come say hi to you. So being
Sure.
excited and talking to them and being welcoming is essentially how I handle situations like that because I want someone to leave talking to me feeling good.
Sure.
Not because they had the opportunity to talk to me, but I want them to feel good that somebody that they were excited to talk to was excited to talk to them.
Right.
Um, and then I've had some weird interactions, not necessarily in mermaiding. Um, I mean, most people have been really polite from when they've approached me. But in baton twirling, I've had some really, really weird interactions. So I used to be a competitive baton twirler and I used to represent the United States. And I've had some interesting people like come up to me because they've seen me on the news or saw me on a television cast, and it's been interesting. Um, but I've had some weird interactions through Instagram Messenger. By the way, can I step away for 2 seconds? My cat, I think,
Your turn.
I think she locked herself in the bathroom. She 100% did, you guys.
Good
My
job.
cat, yeah, you're not exactly the brightest cat, girl. Not the brightest cat in the litter. I'm sorry, you guys, but um, she yeah, she's not very bright, but I love her. But I've had some very weird interactions on Instagram. There's an ongoing joke between a couple mermen that are part of a group chat. They call me Pit Beef. Um, it's because for some reason, don't ask me why. I have no idea. Everyone knows that Instagram, Facebook, TikTok algorithms are strange. You can't make sense of them at all times.
Okay.
I can't explain to you why my pictures early on in my career are very high in Poland. I have no idea. The
Okay.
Pole people, I appreciate your support. However, some of y'all need to get your husbands because they are in my DMs asking me about my armpits. I don't know why. I know that's what I said. And so it's
Please
an ongoing.
elaborate. I need more.
Oh my God, no. I mean it's as surface level as it gets. Like I post a picture like with an arm up or something. They literally just like ask me for pictures of my armpits, tell me how beautiful my armpits are. It is the strangest thing. And now my friends call me pit beef because I'm essentially like I'm just a slab of meat for these guys in Poland. Um, but I find it so offensive, not because it's creepy. I mean, I'm flattered. I'm flattered. It's not necessarily creepy. I mean, you're into what you're into, but for me personally, I'm just kind of like, I like how you pick the one feature on my body in which I do zero at the gym for. I work so hard on my body, and you guys pick the one thing that I was born with and I can't change. And I'm like, okay, that's great.
Jeez.
So yeah, my friends call me Pit Beef. Yeah,
Well, all right then. I don't think I
yeah.
will call you
What
that,
does
but
it say?
that's good to know.
Bad
Bad
catfish.
catfish. Oh,
Yes,
well, yeah,
yes.
good
Yeah,
good old
no, it's just an ongoing joke.
good old Instagram. I
You were
mean,
like, please
Instagram.
elaborate.
Well, yeah, because I'm like, I don't understand. Like, I feel like there's got to be more to it than that. Now, I say that, but almost anything, and I have learned this just from, doing like the boudoir stuff, but I've
Yeah.
branched out beyond that. Almost anything that has to do with photo or video is fetishized somewhere in the world. Like there is
Yeah.
something in everything that gets, and I always say that word, fetishized. There we go. However you want to say it.
Oh, I just thought of another pun. We call those people merverts.
Merverts. That's
Merverts.
a good
Yeah.
one. That one's a good one.
Yeah. Because we almost every mermaid, I mean even myself, have gotten videos of like, I mean not videos, requests for videos, like you said, of,
Okay.
hey, can you just like lay on the ground and put on your tail and just video it for me? And we're just like, what? No.
You're like, I didn't
First
start an
off,
OnlyFans.
I didn't start an OnlyFins. There's another pun. But my thing is like, one, I'm not going to send that to you. And two, I'm not letting anybody have video footage of me struggling that hard to get into something. Like, not happening. Absolutely not.
I've witnessed the wiggle. I understand.
It's not flattering. Most people are like, oh, it's probably like super graceful. You just slip it up. I'm like, no, it's really not. You're struggling for like 15 minutes sometimes.
Well, I would
It's
assume
hard.
that putting the silicone on is like putting latex on. Like, you have to use like a lubricant of some sort, I would assume, to be able to get it to slide over the skin?
Some tails. So some tail
Okay.
makers, like my tails from Mer Tailor, he puts a layer of fabric on the inside. So
Okay.
even though it's silicone on the outside, it's a layer of fabric. So relatively will slide across my skin really well. I will occasionally, like if I have really dry skin or it's dry environment, I'll occasionally like dip my legs in the water before I do it. But
Okay.
you don't need silicone to get a Mer Tailor silicone tail on. At
Okay.
least the newer ones. But there are some tail makers that do make tails, and it's silicone on the inside, and you absolutely need some form of adult lubricant to get on. And those can be hard, but either way, silicone with cloth or no cloth on the inside, they're hard. They're absolutely hard because you're dealing with solid side fins sometimes, or fins going
Mhm.
down the back. And, when I say back, I'm not talking like down your back. Like, we're talking like between your thighs and on your butt. And these are like solid pieces. And sometimes these silicone fins are like an inch or if not 2 inches thick where they're attached. So you can't just like bend them when you're putting on. So you have to be like
Right.
super fragile. You can't pull them. So it takes work because you have to like pull a little bit and then pull it up and then pull a little bit more and pull it up and then pull it. It's
Sure.
hard work. And then once you get in, you're like, all right, let me just lay here. Like, let me just have a moment.
Just let me have my moment. I need to regroup.
Yeah, where the fabrics they're relatively easy. It's just like a sock because it's fabric. You
Okay.
don't really have to be super careful about the side fins because everything kind of folds up. So it's like once you get your feet into the monofin, you just kind of like pull everything up, adjust it a little bit, and you're
Sure.
fine. But the silicone, yeah, those are some hard pieces of work for sure.
Okay. Let's see. Have you ever had anything scary happen while you're in your fin in the water, or have you just been really fortunate that it's all gone well?
Um, I haven't had anything like life threatening. No, fortunately, because I'm a really good swimmer and I know my safety limits, and I
Hmm.
usually, not usually, I always swim with a buddy.
Okay.
Um, buddy system always in the water. We're not aquatic. We're not aquatic animals, so everyone needs to be swimming with a
Sure.
buddy at all times. But um, for me, scary was there was this one time at the Ginny Springs in Ginny Springs, Florida. Clear water, water coming straight out of the cracks of the ground, clear as can be. Where a lot of you, if you see a lot of mermaid videos and pictures, they're usually shot in the springs at Florida.
Yeah.
Um,
Star and I are planning to go there at some point in time this year. You coming with
I
us?
need to be. We need to discuss this in the group chat. Um,
Okay.
but yeah, no, it's awesome because these crevices sometimes they're just like bowls where like at the center
Okay.
point of this bowl, water's just like shooting out, whether it be like straight up or like at an angle. But there are some parts of the spring where it's like it looks like the Grand Canyon, like it's just cliffs and it's like these
Okay.
tiny little trenches And one of my really good friends, she's my mer sister, um, Snowdrop Liz.
Okay.
Feel free to check her out on Instagram, anybody that's watching. But
I
Snowdrop
think I
Liz,
follow her.
I love her. Liz is this wonderful, wonderful creature of earth, and I can't adore her more than I already do, probably. Or else I'll probably combust into flames. And she is this like amazing free diver and scuba diver. I mean,
Hmm.
so incredibly talented. And her and I, when we get together, we will always sneak away. Like her and I, we love crowds for a bit, but most of the time, her and I like just to spend moments alone. She took me to this one part of the springs where it was just this trench, and it's 9 o'clock at night, you guys, pitch
Oh,
black,
geez.
and all she has is these two underwater flashlights. And she's like, let's go to the bottom. And all I see is her dive down and the light disappear. And I'm over here like, because here's a fun fact, I'm afraid of heights.
Oh,
So
jeez.
when, even if it's underwater, it's the
Okay.
visualization of a cliff. I
Sure.
freak out. I panic. And I mean, I'm deathly afraid of heights. So when I see that light disappear, you know how I said the buddy system? Buddy system
Uh-huh.
went completely out the window for a hot sec. I was like, I'm absolutely not going down there. And then I saw the light return, and I was like, I should have had more faith because of how skilled she is. But there was a part of me where I was like, oh my God, I don't know where she went, because she was gone for like 20 seconds. This isn't like, oh, it just disappeared and I just freaked out.
Sure.
She was gone and it felt like minutes, but it was only like 20
Hmm.
seconds, and I didn't know where she went. It was very scary. It was
It
very,
sounds like it.
I was like, yeah, I was like, she's gone, and she's gonna be down there until someone else gets to her, because I couldn't. I just couldn't. I was like, couldn't do it. And then she actually, funny enough, convinced me to go down there with her, and I did it. I was very proud of myself. Did I do it again a second time? Absolutely not. But I did it once.
So at least you could say you did it. I get it.
I did it once,
Um,
yes.
I'm actually a little worried about doing open water. I haven't done open water yet. Everything I have done so far has been pool. And I finally figured out at the end of last season how to get myself to stay under with weight around my waist. And I
Yeah,
like, what happens if I can't get myself up? I know I'm going to have fins and I know there's going to be people, but it's
yeah,
heavy when you add the weight so that you can sink because there's a
yeah.
lot of fat on this body. So it wants to go up. So if I want to go under, I have to have extra weight to keep me down.
Well, there's this wonderful photographer in Florida, and I'm happy to connect you to if you're interested. But his name is Mike. So
Okay.
my mermom, my wonderful mermom, love her to death. Her name is Chelsea. She goes by Chelsea, Florida Mermaid,
Okay.
and her husband Mike does a lot of her photography. And then there's a lot of pictures on my page from his photography. And I mean, I absolutely adore this man, not only because of the photography skill, but just the human he is. And there's a picture on my Instagram. It's one of my pinned ones where I'm like upside down, my blue tail's up. He did that picture.
Okay.
Um, and he's done a lot of other pictures of me that are really, really received well by the community. So when you go down to Florida, whether I be with you or not, I'm happy to connect you. He's always
Okay.
willing to like get in the water with another photographer and show them what he does, and like answer any questions as to how
Okay.
he achieves certain shots and whatever, and like regardless of just physical ability, technological ability, anything where it's like, hey, like what do you want to learn? I'm happy to answer whatever you want. He's just so
Sure.
genuinely kind. And um, I mean, he's a good guy, and I wish more people did photography with him down in Florida that live down there, because he is one talented man. And talk about a jack of all trades. He also does like automobile um, photo shoots where he goes to
Okay.
these car shows and shoots these like beautiful, beautiful cars that literally look like they're from the movie Cars, where they're like tricked out with all these paint and lights. And he does these amazing shots of those as well. And I love that man. I love that man. But I understand staying underwater for
Yeah.
sure. It can. that's a skill that takes time.
Yeah.
It takes time. Yeah, no, some mermaids need weight belts, so there's no
Yeah.
shame in that. We just have a really good way of hiding them in our tails.
Oh, sure. I can care less whether I'm hiding or not. The funny thing is, what I ended up doing was I came across ankle weights on sale at Walmart. So the two ankle weights together, I think it's like 20 pounds. So I interloop them together so that they go around my waist. So it just
Yeah,
looks like, I was like, and it works just fine. Um,
yeah,
but well, we're almost out of time. So one other question is, how do
absolutely.
you, and I usually ask this to everybody, and you don't have to answer this, but how do you monetize? Like, do you have a store? Do you just get paid for photography or for photos, like modeling? How does that work for
Yeah.
you?
So 80% of my modeling shoots, I do them for free.
Okay.
Simply because I know how hard it is for photographers to try and build their portfolio and, want to get models in their portfolio and try to do different things. And I am well aware I do something that most photographers don't do in general. And so if I have a photographer reach out to me, I usually agree to do it for free. I don't charge them because it's hard in this world. It's 2023. Even though time's a ticking, times is not always getting better. And it can be hard out in the world. So I typically will do photo shoots for free.
Okay.
But how I monetize currently is Syrine Symposium. But even
Okay.
then, I've already made a vouch. I'm not even going to pocket any of that money.
Right.
I'm doing Syrine Symposium completely for free, because I want to make an impact. So honestly, I don't really monetize. I have a couple discount codes to some wonderful businesses that I support and really believe in their products. But beyond that, I do this for fun. I do this for the passion, and I
Okay.
know I'm good at it. And it's some people are like, I know I'm good at something. I need to charge for it. I'm just good at it. Why not pay for it in happiness and good times and good friendship? So, yeah.
Yeah, no, I get that. I get that. I mean, a lot of photographers are that way too. It's something that they enjoy doing. So it's not really about, the financial gain from it. But my usual statement is, and I've said this since I started doing photography again a couple years ago, nobody wants to pay the model, nobody wants to pay the photographer, but the makeup artist always gets paid.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Absolutely. The one person that reduces Photoshop work for the photographer and the one person that makes sure the model looks good definitely gets paid. Yes.
Exactly.
Absolutely. It's like neither the plaintiff or the defendant really ever get the money. The lawyer and the judge always do.
Right.
It's always the
Well,
middleman.
exactly. Exactly. And
Yeah.
that's what it feels like sometimes. But I don't know. The photography world has changed so much in the past few years. Actually, and I think I'm going to do a video on this. I came across there's a website I've been on when I got back into photography called Caviar, so that you can find magazines that you want to submit your work to.
Yeah.
Well, when I first started, I'm like, all right, cool, I can submit, whatever. And I went, wait a minute, I'm not getting paid for this. Why am I putting my work in their magazine for them to get paid
Yeah.
for it? Like, there was this disconnect for me. And
Oh, yeah.
I had an email come in the other day that they were discounting the cover and editorial for their magazine. Normally it was like $575, but they're going to do it for $180. So if you want the cover and you want to be this and you want that, and I'm like, the marketing part I could understand might be worth that, but I'm like, no, I'm good. I'll just make my own book.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, no,
people
that's
really
definitely
take
been
advantage of it.
oh yeah, and that's definitely been a challenge for Siren Symposium in regards to, some people want to be able to make a profit, which we totally get, but we don't want them to feel like we're trying to make a profit off them. To even the point where the PADI classes, which is one of the organizations where you can certify a mermaid, all of our PADI instructors, they are teaching, and me and my co-owner are not pocketing any of that money. All funds that go to the PADI instructors when you attend Siren Symposium, we're going straight into the PADI instructors' pockets. So,
Right.
yeah.
All right. Well, that's good. Well, we have reached our time. Did you have anything else you wanted to say or share or?
Yeah. Go watch mer people, support the community, and if you have questions, reach out to your nearest mermaid. Don't be afraid to ask anything because they are definitely willing to answer every question that you have.
One last question. If somebody really, really wanted to get into mermaiding, what's your recommendation? How's the best
Mermaid
way to go
Linda
about it?
monofin. It's the safe. Buy a Mermaid Linda monofin and reach out to your nearest mermaid. Mermaid Linda monofin or monofins are one of the safest, actually the safest monofins on the market. They have multiple safety features as well as the fact that they were designed by a mermaid and not designed by a company. So
Okay.
they are one of the safest and most economical monofins to start with, and reach out to a mermaid to help you learn.
Okay. That
Yeah,
works. Thank you. I
not a
appreciate you.
problem.
Have a good one.
Thanks. You
Bye.
too.